There he is.
Hey, everyone.
What's good, man?
What's up? How are you guys?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Doing good, folks. This is John Teague. He has been nice enough to come hang with us this morning for a few minutes, and I think
Yeah.
we're gonna maybe talk a little bit about what you have going on.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that'd be cool. So, Mr. Teague, tell us, for the folks that aren't familiar with you, do you mind just giving us a little background?
So, I'm John Teague with the Teague Brothers band. Been writing music my whole life, and this band started about 5 years ago or so. We put out two records that thankfully put us on the map. Back in 2018, 2019, I think it was the first record came out, and then two since then, this being our third major record that we've done. So, we tour all over the country. We tour regionally, predominantly. And that's pretty much it. Just been hard at it, man. Things change over time. It's the band originally started with my brother Matt, and it evolved into, instead of just like my homies from like Beaumont, Texas, to like next thing I know, I have friends from New Braunfels playing in the band, and then San Antonio, and then now Fort Worth, and just all over the place. The band kind of just grew, and I don't know. It's been fun. This is like a very personal project to me, even though it's a brothers band. It's like it's been very much my journey, and everyone who's gotten on and off are just they become family. So the name stuck, even though my brother left, 4 years ago.
Makes sense. Well, I was lucky enough. I'm trying to remember what year it was. But I think Bill introduced me. Y'all were playing a show with Kyle in
Oh yeah.
Waco. And that's when I first met you and got to see you play live, and I was hooked. So that was fun.
Was Bill playing bass for John or for Kyle?
He was playing for Kyle.
Okay.
Kyle Nix.
Okay.
In the 38s. So he was one of the 38s, I guess.
Knowing Bill, he would have done double shift if needed be, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
He would have.
just
Yeah.
never left the stage.
Yeah, he's a bit of a slut.
Yeah.
In the
John
nicest
came
way
and,
possible.
The setup there, was it the backyard? Was that maybe where it was? I'm trying to think. The place in Waco. John just came down and sat at our little picnic table and introduced himself and whatever, and like we were off and running. So
Yeah, I know. But that's when things are easy, like it's easy to be your friend or easy to be around you. Like that just makes it better. Like I tend to follow that river, you know what I'm saying? I'm just
absolutely.
and I don't know. That's why I like you guys, It's easy to be around you, It's like, okay. These people get it. They understand what's going on around here,
Well, usually people kind of run away because we get them
Yeah.
on the podcast, and then they're like, "Has it been in an hour yet?" So
That deer in a headlights.
yeah, for sure. Maybe tell us a little bit about specifically "Wish You the World." So that is I think we had three singles released off of it, and then the actual album released yesterday.
You did, yeah.
Okay.
We started the project 2 years ago this month. We went in the studio in 2023, and I got with the producer who made the song Coyote and all that. Like that guy, that was my debut record, this band's debut record, called Harvest Day. I had gone and worked with two other producers since then, but like the way Edgewater just the production quality and he had Derek, the producer, his name's Derek Hames, has like this awesome sense of harmony and pitch, and really capturing the essence of like songs Not that any of the other producers didn't, but Eric has a particular way that seems to really complement my songwriting style and like what I like to do. So it was easy for me to go back to Derek. And so that's what we did 2 years ago. Recorded the whole record. And then Bill had joined the band sometime in the middle of us doing the record. So after he'd been touring with us for 6 months or so, we were like, you know these songs better than Jason, who went in the studio with us. So there's a few songs we had Bill actually come in and cut like 5 bass tracks. So the record split up on the bass tracks. Jason Went, who was our original bass guitar player at the time, fantastic guy. I think he's playing with Bree Bagwell right now.
Nice.
And then Bill. So, but me, AJ, Kyle, and Jason, Bill, and Jeremy Hall, who doesn't play with drums with us anymore, but all went in the studio and just made bangers. We went in with about 16 songs and came out with 10.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, dude, it was exciting, and we're proud of it. That's what Wish You the World is, and we the reason why it took so long to get the record out is just the process of like, we've made this thing that we're really proud of. How can we, maximize the impact of it?
Mm-hmm.
And we had a lot of talks with people, and ultimately what we found out is like it's actually easier to put the record out and then have more conversations about what the record can do for us after it's out. The world's kind of changing a little bit, Used to be you go get a record deal and you try to like get all the marketing money together and like a literally like a project plan. And now everyone you need to steer something, you need to steer people to your music from the moment it drops. So when you create content, so if I'm creating content about a record that doesn't exist yet, it doesn't benefit me to make too much content about it.
Sure.
So that was like after a long 2 years, we kind of landed somewhere in there. So I'm like, you know what? It's time to just start dropping singles, get the record the release date set, and march it across. And so we set the release date in October of last year.
Gotcha.
I can't imagine like just me personally. I can't imagine sitting on those things like that for that long. I know sometimes it's needed and whatever, but I would go crazy because then I know, judging by your posts and your TikToks, you were ready to get this album out a long time ago as well. But I mean, I make a TikTok video and I'm like, I should probably wait till prime time Tuesday, and then I post it on 8 a.m. Saturday, and because that's when I made it, and I was like, I should wait 5 minutes later. It's on, it's posted. So I would struggle in that world bad, but
yeah, it was tough, like to make that call, and like we had a lot of interest from Nashville, like I said, but at the end of the day, they were like, well, we need to get your TikTok numbers up, and we need to do these social media things, and then through the kind of figuring out a plan on like, okay, well, if we're doing these TikTok content and stuff and we're trying to build up our numbers here, like you kind of have to have something that you're working towards, or like something to point people to, and we were kind of in love with these songs at this point, So we're like, these are the songs we want people to start like listening to. So anyway, that's where we landed with it. And yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I'm glad it's out now, because now I can make content and they can go to the place where it is. They can get that instant gratification from the time they discovered our music.
Yeah. John, can you talk a little bit about Derek and Edgewater? Because I know their approach is a little bit, a little bit unique or different.
Yes.
They've had quite a bit of success, and maybe just folks should know a little bit more about what they do.
Yeah, if you're an artist and you are looking for a producer who's going to help you discover who you are, like as a songwriter, as a band, like they will go on that journey with you, and they are like so willing, and they have such an open mind, but then at the same time they have the chops of like, we've done this before, so you can trust us with
Yep.
like where this is headed, and they show you similar journeys like my own, you know, because I've been working with them for years. You know, I trust those guys with what I do. You know, I would encourage any young songwriter to do it. Now, at the same time, like when they're getting into a world where people from all over the country are coming to them, so it is pricier, but like they've earned that. They put in the time over 10 years.
There's some value.
Yeah, they've built this repertoire up, and at the same time, they have a very unique approach with encouraging artists to like, and they'll even tell you, you know, if you think you have the fan base, they they have a roadmap to funding the record, which was so shocking to me that you know that an independent artist can get there that with enough fans behind you, and there are real metrics that they use before they set people on that. So because they don't want you to go out and with the mindset, oh yeah, you're going to get the money, and no,
Right.
no, that they'll tell you up front. They make
There
you
are
do.
plenty of those around.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
That's what I love about them. They're just
Yeah.
honest and as real as you and I are sitting right here talking. You know.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, thanks for sharing that. I think it's they've definitely differentiated themselves,
Yeah.
you know, from the pack and kind of how they go about doing it. And I know there are a decent amount of folks that have had a great experience with them. So
Yeah.
super cool.
It's cool.
So tell us a little bit about the flavor of this album, maybe compared to previous albums, just from a musical standpoint.
Sure. Yeah, this record's like, um, if I had a list of check boxes that, for me personally, that I wanted on a record, I checked every one of those boxes on this one. So this one's very, very personal, like flavor. Like this is what I want. This isn't influenced by someone else or someone else telling me that I need to change this or that or like use something else here or there. And it wasn't very experimental either. My last record, Love and War, we did a lot of experimental stuff, and like with tape delays and live cuts. Like we literally would like 3 or 4 of the songs were literal live cuts that were done inside of the studio. So everything that you heard throughout the whole song, there were no overdubs.
Gotcha.
So shit like that, I'm not really. This record's not really doing that.
Yeah.
It's more like we're gonna put exactly down what we want to put down, and didn't gamble on the sound. We like went and found it before we cut the track, and also on a songwriting level, these songs are, you can probably tell by a lot of the lyrics that a lot of life had been lived in the last 3 years before I've written these songs over the last 2 or 3 years before we recorded it 2 years ago.
Right.
So the songs are even older. Some of them are from like 2020, 2021. Okay. Yeah. And then they just finally made it to the I guess the editing room floor, or some did. But yeah, that's what I would say is different than the other records that I've made. We kind of knew where we were going. We really, really sifted out the songs that we wanted to be. I mean, everything down to just the track order. I mean, it's like we wanted to paint this picture, and I knew what that picture was.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's funny. Sequencing isn't something that we spend a ton of time talking about. When we do the podcast, we have a little bit more of a 30,000-foot view talking to an artist, but I'm curious how big of a deal that is for you, or has it been a big deal for you in terms of setting up the order of the songs?
Yeah, to me, it's the biggest deal to me. Like, I'm a firm believer in doing things with intent, which also kind of prevents me from doing random TikTok stuff.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, this has no, other than just to be on my face, to be on the internet, there's really nothing.
Right.
You know.
We scratch our heads about that all the time. So
Yeah,
I
like,
understand.
yeah, and I'm not that good looking, so I can't just like look at myself and just go, oh wow, you know. And I'm not vain, you know. So with that in mind, like, yeah, I'm very intentional with the things that we do. So that definitely, I wanted a record that you started on, it brings you in, and then you go on this journey with us. Whether people do that or not anymore, I don't know. But when I was a kid, whenever you bought a CD, that's how you did it. That's how you got into music. You didn't skip all the way to the last one, not before you heard all of it. You know? So that's what the experience I wanted people to have.
I would imagine even today or this year, some of your favorite bands have released albums, and you still hit. Like for me, with the Turnpike's latest album, you know, usually my Spotify is on shuffle. But with that, when I wanted to listen to that album, I hit play. I made sure shuffle was off so that I could listen to it from front to back. You know,
Yep.
but I mean that's what I love about all the vinyl stuff. But I can't get that one on vinyl yet. So you know, Turnpike, hey, you know,
Yep.
hook a homie up over here. but but no, I do that like you said. You know, and because it does. I know that it. A lot of artists put a lot of time into that idea and those stories, and that's why some songs make it, some songs don't. You know, it's a lot that goes into it. So we appreciate that.
Yeah, and I'm still an artwork guy too. Like, if you notice, there aren't my CD covers or my album covers are not pictures of me. It's like art, like it's real art, and usually I did it. Usually I do the artwork myself, and there's a meaning behind everything that you are looking at, like every single thing. And there's all kind of little Easter eggs in my art. And on this album case, there's like numbers and all kind of weird stuff that are
Cool.
there. But but like I think a lot of artists still do that in a way, you know. So I love that. I think it matters. In fact, that's what I was going to say was that this album was actually the first one that I didn't do the artwork. This artwork was actually done by my grandparents. They had a really good friend who was an artist. He drew all these pictures on like just straight up paper, but he used an ink pen. And he would draw out little small lines, and then eventually it would turn into a scene out of a Western movie.
Oh, wow.
And so the artwork for Wish You the World is actually drawn by a guy named Johnny Lee Smith. And he's long passed away. But that artwork, my grandfather gave me prints of it after my grandmother had passed away, which one of the songs was dedicated to her. In fact, the whole album is dedicated to her. You get the album art and you open it up, there's a lot more of Johnny Lee's artwork all over it. But he was best friends with Johnny Lee. My grandfather was a saddle maker, or was up until, I don't know, 2 years ago. And so they always had a plan. They were going to go and start a business in Arizona together. And so my grandfather's got all of Johnny Lee's artwork, like prints, and he actually has like the originals. And it's crazy because some of them, you know, those old notepad or like calendar pads that you would put on your desk. Mm-hmm. They had like the calendar on it.
Yeah.
It has some business logo at the top, you know. Johnny Lee would draw on top of those whenever he was at work and make all these Western scenes and stuff. So like my grandpa, he was a lover of the arts, you know, so he kept all of that. And I don't know. It just, you don't, maybe there, I know there's people that exist like that today, but like, there was something that a little more tangible about it. And I was trying to like shine a light on, you know, Johnny Lee and what he did and what real art meant to my family and what it means to me. I appreciate it, you know, and anyway, yeah, I think it's important to be intentional and in that regard, you know.
As far as that art is concerned, like that, all these songs mean a ton to you, and you can tell just by hearing you talk about it that those projects meant a lot to to your family, and then eventually to you. So it all ties together, and makes complete sense.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt. I'm trying to be a good spokesperson for.
Yeah, we all are. Yeah, I hear you on that.
We just need more pictures of you, John. That's what we need.
We
That's
need to be able
what
to
that's what
identify.
Patrick says.
It is what Patrick says. That's
He's
right.
like, I don't even know. I remember I met him over when he came to Fort Worth, and he was like, you know, I know who you are, but it took me a while to realize that, you know, what you look like. He was very open about it. Patrick's a pretty unique guy.
He is. He is for sure. Well, since Soul Gravy had to bring up Turnpike, I don't think we talked about this in the original podcast, but you played a pretty pivotal or instrumental role in the world getting refamiliarized with Evan. Can you talk a little bit about that experience?
Oh yeah, yeah, that was wild, man. Uh, I mean, once I kind of like, if you look at who my friends are, it's not wild to think that I would spend about 2 years hanging out with Evan Felker every weekend for about 2 years. But I never put that on my bingo card, you know, ever, you know, and it was so strange. But yeah, this is a very strange thing. But yeah, what happened was this: how I met him was through a mutual friend, and they were really close. Justin and Evan were super close. Well, Evan had, you know, needed to take that hiatus. Well, he went down to Southeast Texas, which is where I live, like right there. He moved in with my friend 10 minutes away. He has like a 7,000 acre ranch and farm. And,
Little tiny one.
yeah, yeah. So he had plenty of room to roam, you know, and not, people wouldn't even know whether he was, even if they were on the ranch. It would be tough
Right.
to. Anyway, yeah, so my wife ran into him at Tractor Supply, of all places. And they were buying some chickens and some feed and stuff and dog food and everything. And then Justin, my buddy, had texted me and was like, hey, you should come over and meet Evan and stuff. I showed him your record and he loves it. And then, like, later on that night, I was actually like on my way to the studio to working on my next record. And Evan had invited us over for dinner and said he wanted to cook for us. So I went over there, and Evan just told me how much he loved my first record, Harvest Day. And from there, that was it. Like, there was this mutual respect there. And one night in the garage, this is like, this is early 2020. I was playing some songs in the garage, and Evan was in there listening like he normally would, but he didn't really want to play anymore, or he was kind of, you know, not messing with it.
Right.
And I had played some songs, and Evan was like, "Man, that was really good." And I go, "Evan, why don't you play us one?" And then that was like, I gave him the guitar, and he grabbed his harmonica and he played Glory, and he played that song Oh gosh, it's such a good song. In my heart, you pay no rent.
Yeah, pay no rent. Yep.
Yeah, it's in the garage, and like everyone was kind of in tears, and I didn't really know why they were upset until like Evan went to bed, and Justin came and got me, or he was after Evan left. He said Evan hasn't played his guitar since he got here. He hasn't touched it.
Yeah.
He was like, that was the first time that he's played that fucking guitar, and like sent in 9 months or so. So I was like, oh shit. So from there, I was doing a bunch of work on the ranch as I had a business, a construction company. So I'd show up during the day and Evan be out there drinking near beer. He was trying to get off,
Yep.
the stuff. But, he ended up getting his wife pregnant that summer, and so did Justin. They both got their wife pregnant at the exact same time. And they had babies the next month, that next January. So there's a song on my Love and War record called January that I'd written for Evan and Justin and Sarah and Stacy. They were all my best friends at the time. I was spending all my extra time with them. So the song January was written for them. So I got to call my friend, another friend of mine that I went to high school with. He was terminally ill. We've always known he was fighting cancer. He'd been fighting cancer for like 3 or 4 years, but it had come to he was at the end. And someone had mentioned to me if they thought it'd be possible if I could get Evan to play a couple songs for the thing, for like, they were having a big party for him. And I was like, I don't know, I really didn't know if it was even possible. I asked Justin to do it, to ask Evan, but it literally came all the way down to like the day before it was going to happen. And Evan had come home from Oklahoma, and then I was like, okay, because he was in Oklahoma. He came all the way back in and was like, yeah, I'll do it. So the next day, I just had the band. We all knew the songs already.
Right.
Some of us more than others. You can tell by the video. It's like some of the guys knew every single thing. My drummer at the time, he did not know every single song. So he didn't know it like we did. But he was a good drummer nonetheless, so I figured he'd just pick it up. And he did for the most part. But anyway, we played those songs,
Yeah, that I think that was the first. Well, I don't know. For a lot of us, that was the first sighting of Evan. Playing music for sure. And that kind of set the old internets on fire, and people started saying, maybe there's some hope for some more Turnpike music down the road. So thanks for your effort there. We appreciate it.
So I gotta ask, from your point of view, when you're asked to play some songs in the garage and Evan's sitting there, is that like, I'm sure you were already a fan, so were you like scared shitless to play your songs, or do you just, are you comfortable, was that, how was that experience playing your songs in person, not just him listening to them, but you playing them in person in that setting? Or were you just one of the guys and you didn't think about it?
Like there's two realms of consciousness there. I was very aware that I'm playing in front of someone that I've idolized for years.
Okay.
That honestly was probably one of the main reasons I'm even playing country music, because I was playing like rock and metal and stuff. And I had just got home from Iraq whenever somebody showed me a Turnpike record. This was in 2012. And then I was like, oh, this is good, and I started playing drums for a country band, and I started writing songs while I was in that band, and then eventually Teague Brothers band emerged from the wake of that. So yeah, I was very aware that this guy was someone that I really had a lot of respect for, but at the same time, up until like we never talked about music a whole lot, other than him like talking about my record when I first met him. But other than that, like I didn't bother him about Turnpike business. Like, he was up to his neck in it. So I wasn't gonna be some guy fanboying. And then on top of that, I'm with my friends. Like that's just not how we are.
Gotcha.
Like my friend
Makes
Justin,
sense.
yeah, he hangs out with celebrities all the time, or he did, for a long time. He would spend a lot of time. So it wasn't unusual for us to be around, some random artist, and Evan was included in that.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
So
And you also he knew his opinion on your stuff too. I'm sure that
yeah, that's
helps a little bit too.
It does. It did. Like he had told me he really liked it, so that kind of helped. Like the ice was broken. Okay,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't like this was. There was nothing there.
You knew you weren't gonna come off of like some hot shot like, hey, listen here, let me show you some of my songs.
No, not
I
at
don't know if
all.
you've heard this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. You didn't like that one. How about this one?
Well, there is for anybody that is interested, it's pretty easy to find. You can find the video on YouTube and go check it out. It's pretty cool.
It is cool. It was very emotional, very very emotional. What you don't see in the video is behind the camera was about 500 people, all in dead silence.
Yeah.
And they had parted, like moved completely out of the way so that Eric was sitting right in the middle with his mom and dad and sister and, just family, his wife. And so he had an uninterrupted view of the whole thing. So you don't see that in the video, but that's what was there. So it was like we were literally like playing for him and like for no other reason.
So I misunderstood that the beginning of that story. I guess maybe I was thinking maybe it was a wake sort of setting, but he was there. He was watching the whole thing in person.
Yeah, 3 weeks
Before.
at that point.
Very cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Right after that, Evan, like, because we still had a show to play a little bit after that happened. So after we got through, Evan got through, we kept playing, and Evan went and sat down and talked with him for the rest of our show.
Yeah.
And hung out with him and his family. And then the next, when I don't even know if I got home. By the time I got home, my Twitter blew up. I had like 7,000 notifications within about an hour after packing our stuff. It was nuts. That was the craziest thing ever. And so I think what I saw was like over 2 or 3 million people saw the article just within like a week's time. And Eric called me because he was still alive, just dying. And, thanked me for everything. And then we exchanged personal, conversation, but it was incredible. The whole thing was incredible. And it was all for Eric. It wasn't for me. It wasn't for Evan either. It was literally for Eric. That's it.
It's crazy that a situation like that though can bring all those things together.
Yeah, it was crazy.
John, thanks for sharing that. That's super cool of you to share that story. I did want to ask you. Looks like you're going to be doing some traveling here, so you can tell us a little bit about what you got going on with the tour schedule.
Yeah, for sure. We are going to be in Alamo, Texas next week for the Armed Forces second annual festival. They're doing kind of a big veteran, thing. When people ask me to do shows like that, I'm like, I'm there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm for you. I'm with you. I'm one of you. So let's do something that's cool. So they got with me about almost a year ago. They asked me to do this show that they planned. It's a big event. And then after that, we're off to the races. We're going to be in Nebraska. We're going to be in Florida, and I'm already booking dates in August, September, October. So
Nice.
the tour schedule is going to be opening up. As you know, we had some band member changes, so we had to kind of pause touring for
Yep.
the last 2 months, which sucks, but it was kind of nice, honestly. like,
Right.
like I got to get completely ready for the record. I got to spend a lot of time with my dog, and I just moved to Fort Worth and didn't really get to fully move in until about 2 months ago. So it's been nice to be home, but the road calls, man. It calls me.
For sure. One thing I did want to mention, so a bunch of the folks who are actually in the chat today, were actually, I don't know whose channel it was on, but I think maybe you all were up at Drew's doing a little pre-production on Tulip. And so we actually got to see, I don't know, I thought it was fun.
I think it was on John's.
Was it on John's? Okay. I couldn't remember if it
so.
was on Bill's or
Because Bill
John's
couldn't
or
get his going.
Drew's.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
probably. But it was, I think, super cool to be able to see that, and then now we just listened to it before we came in here.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so, and I hadn't heard the final version, so
That's awesome.
some people made comments in the chat about it, and I was like, oh yeah, like I didn't forget about it, but like they jogged my memory on it. I was like, oh, that's super cool.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was kind of whenever we decided, all right, yeah, Bill has written all these parts for these songs. Now it's like we've got to get these tracks because we're in love with those parts.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
Very much so. Anything else you want to touch on, or you've got the floor if there's anything you want to cover?
Yeah, so about the aliens. Let's
Hold on, I'm going to bring somebody in for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, dude. I think first of all, thank y'all for like having me, and always like from the moment we've met, each of you have been supportive, and like I love that we have this community going here of people who are just true to the music, looking for authentic, genuine artists, and they're promoting the hell out of it, and we're building a community. A bigger community, way bigger than I ever would have thought. And like I love Texas radio, and I hope it never dies. But there has to be some other subculture growing out today. Another community growing for us to be able to reach out and touch and meet people who will be interested in our music. And it's guys like you who are just making that happen, like just by sheer force. I don't know how y'all I don't know how you do it, man.
That's what we do. We force them.
We force on people.
Yeah,
So.
it's definitely forcing.
Yeah. Well, keep it up, man. People are loving this stuff. I mean, y'all are bringing in people I want to hear, like people I want to discover. So
Cool. Well, we'll like to hear that. Y'all
Yeah,
make sure you
definitely.
go follow Teague Brothers Band. Go follow Teague Brothers Band on socials, wherever you stream your music. Go give the new album a listen. I think you will enjoy it. We listened to about 60% of it before you got here. But go check it out. Hit
I had it
repeat
in my
on it.
earphones yesterday while I was at work. So I'll get, that's a nice, that's when I get to it sounds crazy that at work I can be uninterrupted, and listen to something fully. But a lot of times it is true, working with my hands, I can have it in my earphones and actually pay attention to it, So definitely enjoyed it, man, for sure.
yeah. Thank y'all. I appreciate it.
Cool. All right, John, man. Take care. Thanks so much.
I got two little quick things. One, if I love all the music and everything, if you could only get a nicer bass player, I think it would set it right over the edge. We love. I know Steve knows Bill even more than I do, but Bill is one of the first ones to ever come on the podcast, and it's been cool to me that a guy that he's never even met in person, So appreciate Bill. And two, just on the social media stuff, man. I know you. I know you say with intent, and I completely understand what you mean. But if you, to me, if you post stuff that is just you and genuine and authentic, no matter what the hell it is, it gives your tribe a way to get to know you, just like this little, 30-minute thing that we're doing tonight.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I would. I mean, take all that for whatever it's worth, but. Don't look at it as vanity or vain or whatever. It's letting your people know you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hear that, and
Yeah, I mean,
I will do my best with that.
I know it doesn't come natural. Shit, man. When I make a video, it takes me 10 takes before I feel like I'm not a complete dork and hit post. But still, man, it is a way for folks to get to know you. I have to keep that in mind too, whether it is a stupid TikTok or whatever, So
Yeah,
I'm sure you would like those videos of folks that you like.
that's exactly right.
Right.
I would love that. I would love that. And
So
For sure.
thanks
All
a lot, fellas.
All right, man. Take care. See you soon.
Yep, talk to you.
See ya. All right. Well, I'll play. Which one should I play off of the album? There, Talbot.
Well, that tulip one we were talking about is pretty fun.
All right.
I mean, they're all good, but whatever you want to choose.
We'll roll with that one. That was cool. I'm glad they did that. I hope. I would like to see more artists do things like that from the studio and things. I know it's kind of a niche audience, but the people that are into that stuff would actually really enjoy it. So
Yeah, you and me.
Oh, well, I would think even not just from the artist side, but from the producer record or from the actual studio side, it would be smart to broadcast live and snippets from things like that. I know you can't give away too much of an artist's project or whatever, but still, you can do a drum beat or whatever the case would be.
For sure.
All right.
Yeah, it's cool to have a connection to it a little bit, even though it's a unique setting or whatever. But I felt more connected to this song after realizing that I'd already heard it before.
Even if you're just hearing Bill play bass
Right.
and nothing
Yeah.
else.
You're like, oh, I recognize that. Yeah, super cool.
Well, like I said, I think part of that goes back to what I was saying is that John was sitting there, BSing with everybody while Bill's playing his part, and so it's just a
Normal human interaction.
that's
Yeah.
it, besides on stage or whatever, so
We didn't get the question in on the shooting the cow, but that's all right. I'll ask later.
I wanted to ask about the ragweed shirt too, but
Oh yeah. Yeah, I felt like we could have gone an hour and a half, to be honest, but
that's okay.
probably just as well.
All right, here we go. Teague Brothers and the song "The Tulip."
Thank y'all for joining.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, Soul Gravy hit record.
What'd you say?
I said, hopefully, Soul Gravy hit record.
Well, it's TikTok, so
Yeah, just
when you're live, it is what it is.
You surrounded. She bought a ticket on a one-way plane, got that big city calling. Gucci and Prada, trade those tennis shoes in for high heels, darling. Janis Joplin wouldn't do it
listen to music and stare at each other.
What'd you say?
I said this is the awkward part where we listen to music and stare at each other.
I can't throw up a picture on here.
Too bad. Hotel water is amazing, Chase. I agree.
You surrounded.
It does feel like this sound is natural and home.
Yep.
If that makes sense.
It does. One thing,
Which I know everybody grows in time and whatever, band members, and there's all kinds of things that go into the sound, but
lots of variables. One thing that I've always enjoyed about their music, especially not just live, but I've enjoyed it live, is their, I'm going to guess this comes from John originally playing drums or starting as a drummer. I think that, if I remember, that's right, but their tempos are pretty spot on and a little hard breaks and pauses. And I dig that kind of stuff. It was a non-musical way of explaining something musical.
tasty pauses and things to that nature.
Yeah, for sure.
I understand what you mean.
All right, I got to bounce, but
All right.
Thanks for having me. See y'all. Stick around here with Soul Gravy. If you can be here.
I got a busy day too, so
All right.
I got
See y'all.
I'm DJing a wedding.
DJ
no.
Gravy.
That's right. Yo,
All
yo,
right.
yo, 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 yo. All right, see y'all later.
See ya.
Yeah, thank y'all for hanging out for a while. I'll try to get this downloaded as soon as TikTok will let me and get it posted on YouTube. Probably tomorrow, if I had to guess. So, and we'll get it get a little get it recorded or downloaded and edited and posted. So, appreciate John taking the time to come on. Y'all go follow the Teague Brothers on all the social medias. And wherever you stream your music, hit that follower button, and it doesn't cost anything, but helps everyone involved. Like you heard him say, Nashville or record folks or whatever, music business, the nasty business side of it, they want to see those numbers. So, know what I mean? They want to see the numbers, so helping them going and following on all their streaming platforms and plus their socials and stuff. All that does is it's a free way to help the bands. So, where was John talking about? I'm not sure, Chase. I'm not sure. I missed. I'm not in Texas, so some of the towns they name I'm not familiar. So, and I can't go because I'm like 10 hours away or whatever. So, it's I just kind of listen, so I don't know exactly. Okay, Chase, I got you. Very cool. Alamo City. So I remember him saying that, but I don't know where Alamo City is. So I'm assuming that's Texas, the country of Texas. But I gotcha. I'm guessing that's in southeast Texas, right? I wish I lived in a town that had Hank in the name of the town. So the only places in Texas I've ever been is East Texas. That would be the Tyler Longview Metroplex. because that's where my dad and siblings live. And been to when my dad moved from the Memphis area. He moved originally to Irving, and then the Grand Prairie, and then eventually out to East Texas and the sprawling town of Hawkins, Texas. So that's the only, and it's been, I don't know, it's probably been 4 or 5 years since I've been to Hawkins. So last time I was there, they was at Rooster's Ice House, was not even a thing. So it's been a while. It's been a while. So, but in August, when I make my way out to Waco, we're going to be spending some time there in East Texas with the family. So that's going to be a double reason for that trip. So get to see the Ragweed Boys and Turnpike and American Aquarium and all of them, and then and see the family too. So that'll be cool. So if anybody, oh yeah, I know it's going to be hot, but you know, it is what it is. I work in construction and attics half the summer, so you know, it is what it is. It'll be a war of attrition for a 45-year-old man every day. But all right, we shall see y'all later. But if anybody is going to be in Waco or in the surrounding area, it'd definitely be cool to meet everybody instead of just on TikTok. So, all right, y'all enjoy your Saturday. I got a handful of things I got to do, and then I got to make an hour and a half journey to play music for a wedding. So that'll be cool. Do those, a handful of them a year, as long as they don't want like a yo kind of DJ. I'm your guy. But I'll probably see y'all tomorrow if I had to guess. Easiest Saturday morning. That's easy like Saturday morning. That's pretty good. Let's go. Let's listen to that on the way out. Easy like Sunday morning. And I'll play the 90s rock version of it by Faith No More.
No, it sounds funny, but I just can't stand the pain. Girl, I'm leaving you tomorrow. Seems to me, girl, you know I've done all I can. You see a big storm in the borrow. Yeah. That's why I'm easy. I'm easy like Sunday morning. Yeah, yeah. That's why I'm easy. I'm easy like Sunday morning. I wanna be high.